Today we're taking a look at a phrase that can legitimately be translated two different ways, and those two ways are seemingly opposite of each other. It's in Philippians chapter 1, verse 7. Let's dive right in and read from the ESV. And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. It is right for me to feel this way about you all, because I hold you in my heart, for you are all partakers with me of grace, both in my imprisonment and in the defense and confirmation of the gospel. So the phrase in question here is where he writes, because I hold you in my heart. So let's take a look at that. Dia to eken me en te cardia humas. So dia is because of or on account of. Then we have an articular infinitive, to eken, ekane. Ekane is from echo, and it is to have or to hold. But when you have the article in front of it, and you pair it up with a preposition like dia, it turns into a kind of a clause. And here, it's like a purpose clause or a cause clause. Pardon the closeness of those two. So, because of what? Because I hold you in my heart, or because you hold me in your heart. So then, when we have an infinitive like this, the subject of the infinitive is not in the nominative case, which is normally the case of subjects, but it's in the accusative case. So here in our phrase, we have two accusatives. We have me, me, and humas, you, plural. So, and then we have the sort of indirect object, ente cardia, in the heart, the specific heart being either my heart or your heart, depending how we translate this. So what are the two possible translations? First, because I have or hold you, plural, in my heart, or because you, plural, have or hold me in your heart. So why is it possible for it to be either of those? Let's take a look a little more closely. So back to our infinitive. To ekane. To ekane is an articular adverbial infinitive, probably of cause. You know, why is it right for me to feel this way about you? Because I hold you, plural, in my heart, or because you, plural, hold me in your heart. That's why, because of this. But our infinitive here has these two accusatives, me and humas, one of which must be the subject of the verb and one of which must be the object of the verb. So how is it that we decide which is which? Well, let's look at the whole clause again. So first up, if we read this clause in isolation, we cannot definitively say which of the translations is correct and which is incorrect. But the good news is the clause does not appear in isolation. It appears in the context of verse 6 and 7, and we can see some other things. Next up, we have word order to look at. So we can look at this and say to ourselves, the writer, presumably Paul, wants his audience to understand what he's getting at. So the accusative that immediately follows the infinitive is probably the subject, and the accusative that's more distant from the infinitive is probably the object. But we can't say that definitively. It's not a definite. But finally, the context becomes the big clue. So we're going to reread 6 and 7 in English from the ESV, and I want you to just listen to what's going on here in the context and who leading up to the phrase is the subject and who is the object, or who is an indirect object. And hopefully it will give you kind of a vibe of which way we should go, whether the subject is me, me, or whether the subject is humas, you, plural. So here we go. And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ. It is right for me to feel this way about you all, because I hold you in my heart, or you hold me in your heart. For you are all partakers with me of grace, both in my imprisonment and in the defense and confirmation of the gospel. So, while it's possible for it to mean you, plural, have me in your heart, the opposite sounds more viable to me. It seems much more likely to me because of the word order, because of the context, because of the natural understandability of the first accusative in proximity to the infinitive to be the subject. It just makes more sense to me that Paul is saying, because I have you, plural, in my heart. That's why it makes sense for me to feel this way about you. Because I have you in my heart. Why? Because of your partnership with me in my imprisonment and in my defense of the gospel, etc., etc. But here's the thing. If you conclude otherwise, I wouldn't fight you over it. I wouldn't arm wrestle you over it. I wouldn't flip a coin with you over it, because from a grammatical standpoint, either one of those translations is legitimate and within the bounds of our understanding of how to deal with an accusative that is the subject of an infinitive and another accusative that is the object of that same infinitive. So let me know what you think in the comments. Give me some feedback on that. And just articular adverbial infinitives with two accusatives can be tricky, can be interesting. There are a bunch of occurrences within the New Testament for you to go and try and find. And let me know what you think. And until next time, Charis Kai Rene Humin, grace and peace to you.